Hey, what is up everyone? It's David here. I took the time to educate myself in geospatial analytics and 3D point clouds so that I have a reasonable foundation to analyze Pointerra. So in this video, let's talk about the gravity-defying ASX growth stock, Pointerra. As usual, this video is just my opinion. It should never be used as financial advice. But if you do learn something new, consider gently smashing that like button right there. Also, if you're working in the industry or have anything to add, please feel free to add them in the comment section below. So, without further ado, let's go! I've broken the video into three main segments. First, I'm going to talk about what Pointerra does and how to make money. And then two, I'm going to talk about their numbers and their valuation. And then three, I'm going to talk about their management team. And then I'll wrap up everything with my own observations. One of the biggest problems working with 3D datasets is that the file size is ginormous. And just to give you an idea in terms of how big the file size actually are, I've signed up to a free trial account with Pointerra, and there are a couple examples I want to show you. Now, the first example I want to show you is this building right here. So let me zoom out a bit so you can see it better. And this building is terrestrial laser scanned, and it has 288 million points inside the file. And this file is approximately 6.3 gigabytes. Now, the next example is the Optus Stadium in Perth, Western Australia. Again, this is also laser scanned, and there is 1.2 billion points within the file, and this file is approximately 41 gigabytes. Now, I have one more example to show you, and this one is a LiDAR scan of Pennsylvania statewide. This scan has 72.5 billion points inside, and it's approximately 375 gigabytes. So as you can see, depending on the size of the structure, the file size can increase substantially. Now, all of the examples I just showed you are already processed into information. Most of the time, when those points are captured, either via LiDAR or laser scans, they need to be processed into these maps or information so that it's actually usable. Because of the sheer size of those files, it takes a lot of time and a lot of manpower and processing power to turn those raw data sets into something that's usable like a map. So historically, a lot of companies have shipped those processing tasks into high-skill, low-cost environments to get a process so that they can be sent back to be used. This is where Pointerra's cloud-based software come into play. They enable your massive 3D datasets to be stored and retrieved efficiently in the cloud. But more importantly, they use their own proprietary machine learning algorithms to process those datasets into information in hours instead of weeks. That's not speculation, it already happened. In a recent interview between Ian Olsen and Morgan's Financials, he mentioned one of his US customers took 2 weeks to process a drone captured footage, whereas it took Pointerra 2 hours. If you're interested to learn more about how they're doing all of that, Pointerra has 2 patents pending, and I highly recommend you to go check it out in Google Patents. When it comes to how they make money, right now, their main monetization strategy is a tiered monthly subscription with a custom enterprise option. On top of their monthly subscriptions, in their recent enterprise sales update, they have mentioned that they're finally ready to do a soft launch for their data marketplace. The whole point of data marketplace is to enable potential customers across the world access to 3D datasets available to Pointerra and monetize that dataset with a revenue sharing model with businesses who have created those 3D datasets. In Pointerra's investor presentations, it's often quoted that the geospatial technology sector is worth $500 billion. In my opinion, the term geospatial tech is all-encompassing. The overall geospatial market could be $500 billion, but the more relevant subcategory Pointerra is playing in is spatial analytics, which according to Statista, is estimated to be $88.3 billion in 2020. Now I know that graph is really hard to read, so I've extracted that out into a single graph, and as you can see, from 2013 to 2020, it's estimated to be growing at 11% compounded annually. But the one thing I do want to make a note here is last few years, the data storage costs have come down significantly. So I do think the tailwind of cheaper storage costs and also analytics will make this industry grow even faster than 11% compounded annually. There are quite a few competitors in this space. The most notable is Autodesk and also Hexagon. Autodesk is a 50 billion market cap software company that's based in the US with a 3.5 billion annual revenue. And Hexagon is a 28 billion market cap Swedish technology company with a 4.5 billion annual revenue run rate. It's important to note that none of the competitors are focusing on making 3D datasets easier to store, to use, and to monetize. So this could be one of Pointerra's greatest advantages. All right, let's take a look at the numbers to see what's under the hood. For Pointerra, since this is a SaaS business, we should really focus on annual contract value, retention rate, and also cohort growth rate. But because Pointerra is not reporting their retention rate or their cohort growth rate at the moment, we'll just focus on annual contract value. In their latest enterprise sales update in September, they mentioned in August alone, they have increased their ACV by $1.1 million, and this represents a 39% increase in their annual contract value in just 30 days. Before you jump out of your seat, call your broker to go all in on Pointerra, I want to remind you that this 39% growth rate is just 1 month. Can they do it the next month or the month after?
I have absolutely no idea.
What about their valuation? Now the numbers might change because I have built live prices in these spreadsheets. The first thing I want to draw your attention to is the current market cap. Now all of the numbers are in millions, and as of recording the video, it's trading at $322 million worth of market capitalization. And almost a month ago, it was trading at 26 million market capitalization. Now, of course, a big part of the market cap jump came from the news that Bevan Slattery, who founded Megaport, NextDC, and Superloop, poured $2.5 million into Pointerra. That $2.5 million bought Bevan 50 million shares at 5 cents a pop, and now that the stake is worth more than $24 million, that's already 8 to 9 times his money. At 300 million market capitalization, Pointerra is trading at an EV revenue multiple of 245 times, or 80 times their annual contract value. Now, Pointerra is commonly compared with Nearmap, and between 2017 and 2018, that's when Nearmap is trading at a 300 million-ish market capitalization. And at that point, Nearmap is already generating anywhere between $41 to $54 million worth of revenue per year. So at a current valuation of $300 million worth of market cap with a 1 million revenue, it certainly seems like a very hefty price tag to pay for Pointerra currently. Okay, let's take a look at their balance sheets. From a single glance, they have enough current assets to cover both current liabilities and non-current liabilities. And with a $2.33 million worth of cash, they should have no issues dealing with external shocks in the short term. Of course, Nearmap is not a pure platform play like Pointerra, so you can make an observation there that because Pointerra is only focusing on the platform and making 3D datasets easier to use, they should be able to get to $40 to $50 million worth of revenue much faster. Not to mention that the data marketplace should help accelerate that journey as well. But it's important to know that their data marketplace is still in its infancy, and marketplaces are not something where you just turn on the tab and you'll make it rain. There is such a delicate balance between demand and supply, and too much of either side will ultimately break the marketplace, and then you have to deal with the issue of why not just go off the platform to make the transaction. To me, the key question is, how long will it take Pointerra to get to that $40 to $50 million worth of revenue per year? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. With their management team, what you need to know is that Dr. Rob Newman, the current managing director of Nearmap, actually helped floated Pointerra and was once chairman of the company. He no longer holds that position because of his commitment with Nearmap, but he still holds 18 million shares according to the final director's interest in 2018. I've double checked in Yahoo Finance and Simply Wall Street. It just doesn't seem like he has sold any of his shares just yet. Another thing I want to make a note here is that there is a distinct difference between Nearmap and Pointerra. Nearmap captures rich, high-resolution aerial imagery, whereas Pointerra focuses making 3D datasets more usable. My understanding is that the two solutions actually complement each other instead of compete against each other. If you're in the industry and have specific insights, I'd love to know which part of Nearmap is actually in competition with Pointerra. And of course, the main character in the growth story is Ian Olsen, the current managing director of the company. Don't let the Big Four accounting firm and capital market experience fool you. He previously owned WKC Spatial, which specializes in 3D point cloud data from 2007 to 2016. At the same time, depending on how you see it, he did sell some of his shares and approximately 3.58% of his shares in September at 32 cents a pop. To me, that seems more like a let me lock in a bit of wealth for the hard work I put in type situation. I wouldn't necessarily put too much emphasis on that. So let me wrap up. Pointerra is a great growth story in the making. The product the team has created has demonstrated that companies are willing to pay for that product consistently. Now that Bevan Slattery has invested in the company, this should light a bit of fire underneath the management team's feet to grow the company faster. That's usually what happens when you have a high-profile investor investing in the company. The expectation is for you to grow, scale, and win. For me personally, Pointerra was a great learning piece, but I am not confident in my investment story. And because of my lack of confidence, I think the valuation lacks substance. And it just seems like it's the day trader's playground right now. Of course, I could be completely wrong, but if you think that Pointerra is undervalued right now, I would love to know why you think that. If you watch this video all the way to the end, you are the real MVP. Thank you so much, and if you learned something new, consider gently smashing that like button right there, subscribe to my channel, click onto the bell so that when I release future videos, you'll be the first one to know. On top of that, if you want to be part of my fortnightly Q&A and access to my video scripts which contains my research, consider supporting this channel via Patreon. Until next time, my name is David. Auto will always do the honors and see you very, very soon.